Welcome to Webster Now with your host, Garrett Wagner.
Webster, we keep running into the same question. The one's underneath almost everything we do. Do we move as fast as possible? Or do we slow down and get it right? This week, that question is everywhere. The town brought in an independent expert to go through Verizon's case for 2 new towers, line by line, on your behalf of Verizon's dime. But what that review can actually deliver and what it simply can't is not what a lot of people are expecting or want. Over the old Xerox campus, there's a road project underway, and plenty of you have asked the obvious question, why? The short version starts with a busy 4-lane road and a tricky left turn, and a whole lot of trucks head for Fairlight. Closer to home, one of our own just earned a promotion to run the town's wastewater plant on a piece of land his family used to own. A genuine good story for Webster. On the Fireman's Carnival, it's July, but we'll be at the Fireman's Carnival and the Fireman's Parade with a few new rules waiting for you at the gate. I'm Garrett Wagner, Webster resident, your neighbor, and just a quick reminder before we start. Everything you hear today is my perspective only. Nothing said reflects official town policy or action. Let's start with the big one, baby, Verizon. Back in the spring, the latest real update was a proposal for 2 new cell service towers that were still in progress. Not approved, not denied, early step. Step 1 of many, with more reviews still to come. Well, that more review now has some definition, and it's worth walking through because a lot of residents, they care about this one. It's a good example of the town slowing things down to get something right. So here's where things stand. Verizon has proposed 2 new sites on the table, one called Webster North off Wildflower Drive, and one on Lake Road and County Line Road. Residents near both have made the same concerns loud and clear. So the town has moved to bring in an independent third-party radio frequency engineer, someone with no stake in the outcome, to go through Verizon's technical case for these towers. Now, this begs the question, right? Why hire an outside expert at all? I know some of you say Verizon's lying, so don't trust them. This is why. Because something we discussed not long ago. Under federal law, a town like Webster can have real say over where towers go, but it can't simply say no because people don't want it to go there. The town needs a valid, supportable, fact-based reason. And the way you build that kind of record is exactly this. You hire a qualified, neutral engineer, pressure test the carrier's own claims. And the engineer, the town lined up for this, is genuinely qualified. An RF engineer, an attorney, a retired RIT professor who's advised 100 communities across New York on tower reviews and testified at a landmark federal case on this exact issue. But here's the part residents need to hear clearly because expectations have gotten ahead of reality. This review can do some things, and it flat out can't do others. So we want to talk about that so you understand what's going on in your town. So here's what it can do. It take everything Verizon has submitted, the coverage maps, the gap analysis, the technical justification, and check for completeness and consistency, and whether it actually holds together. If something doesn't hold up or needs clarity, he flags it. What it can't do. He doesn't have Verizon's proprietary modeling software or their own internal network data, so he can't independently rerun the analysis from scratch. He can't go drive around the town with equipment and generate his own coverage maps himself. Now, could the town pay for that kind of independent modeling or field testing? Maybe, but it's extra money. And this is being paid for by Verizon. And that's a negotiation, shall we say. So this review pressure tests Verizon's homework. It's not a from scratch redo of it, and that distinction matters. And it gets us to a bigger point. The one underneath this whole episode. The town moved on this before the scope was fully nailed down. The initial ask included a few things that on closer look, the outside reviewer simply couldn't deliver, which is why the matter got held for 2 weeks, plus other reasons, to actually define what this review is and what it's meant to answer, and what success looks like before spending time. But we're spending Verizon's money here, let's be clear. And yes, one board member pushed out the obvious question.
We've had this information for a while, and if it was a concern, it should have been brought up before this meeting, in my opinion. And so we can treat this as a bit of a teaching lesson. If we have concerns, these are in the emails. They have questions. There's a time to do it. That's just my opinion.
Fair question. But the answer to we move too fast isn't to keep barreling ahead. Sometimes it's to stop and get it right. And that's what the hold is for. So we expect to see this issue come back at the town board meeting on Thursday, July 2nd. But as of yet, nothing's decided. The point for now is simple. The town is doing its due diligence and going with clear eyes about what that diligence can and can't prove. And honestly, that's the whole tension in a nutshell, right? Moving before you're quite ready for stopping to get it right, which is a good moment to mention a number we've been tracking this year. Town board votes that didn't pass. The tally just ticked from 13 to 14. So if you were hoping the board would leave unlucky 13 behind, technically it has. It's on to number 14. Now, if Verizon's about slowing down to get something right before you move, here's the other side of that same coin. A project that's slow and complicated precisely because getting it right takes time. And a lot of you have driven past it and asked the same question. What's going on with the roads over the old Xerox campus? And why this big project? So we want to take some time to answer that, because why is the whole story. And it all starts with our new buddies in town, Fairlife. The plan is going to bring in a serious volume of truck traffic in and out of Webster, flowing constantly. And right now, the natural route would send those trucks to make a left turn on 104. And if you sat at that kind of intersection on 104, you already know it's dangerous. It's busy. And a steady stream of tractor trailers making that turn, left turn, is problematic. So for safety and for everyone else trying to get through, a change is needed. The better answer is to get those trucks onto a highway on-off ramp instead. A clean, continuous flow, on-off. No fighting a turn signal on 104 just outside Webster. The catch is the smart path to that ramp runs straight through the Xerox campus. And those, they're private roads. Understandably, Xerox isn't equal to open up its private roads to however much truck traffic there is. So that's what this project is really about. That's why we got a $10 million grant. Turning the right stretch of those private roads into public ones, so the trucks have a continuous route of traffic off the highway, keeping the traffic off our neighborhood streets so it otherwise doesn't spill into it. Part of rebuilding existing roads, part of it is generally new. And now there's one stretch of a road that isn't there yet. It has to be built from scratch. Now, is it complicated? Not the most, but there's a lot of moving parts. This is simple in concept and a beast in execution, because many different organizations have a road to row in the same direction. The town, the village, the county, the state, private stakeholders, and more. That's exactly why it doesn't move fast, but it is moving. Step by step through the reviews, it has to clear. The board finally got a comprehensive update after more than a year of planning and the grant that just started this year. And it's progressing through the process. That's the short version. And honestly, the only version most of us need. The highway trucks need a safe way to the highway, and that's the bottom line. So Fairlife can keep going and it doesn't impact residents. All right, from big infrastructure to the people, the important part, who keep this town running day to day. And a story I'm genuinely glad to share. Because you know what? The town has a new chief operator at the wastewater treatment plant, Dwayne Hilfiker. And what makes this one worth pausing on, it's a promotion from within. Dwayne didn't just get parachuted in. He came up through the plant and earned his way to running it. And that's the kind of thing we should want to see. People growing into department head leadership roles from inside Webster. And it gets better. This is the same plant the town has been pouring a major multi-million-dollar upgrade to over the last couple of years, turning it into a genuinely modern facility. So now the upgraded plant has a homegrown leader at the helm to take it into the future. Good people, good timing. And there's a little nice piece of Webster history tucked in here too. The land the wastewater treatment plant sits on, Dwayne's grandfather used to own it. Generations later, his grandson is the one running the operation on that ground. And that's the kind of stuff you can't script. So congratulations, Dwayne. Well earned. We look forward to you running this plant successfully into the future. Now, let's end where Webster is at its best, together in the summer for the one and only Webster's Fireman Carnival. Back on July 15th with the parade through July 18th. If you've been there before, which come on, I know you'll have. You know the drill. If you haven't, it's 4 days. Kicks off with the parade, rides, food, and the whole community in one place. And it's one of the best things our community does all year long. One real challenge to know before you go. This year will be bag checks at all 3 gates. Every bag subject to a search. And a larger Webster police presence on the ground. Some of you remember why. Last year, the night took a hard turn when a fight broke out and police had to step in. That shouldn't be what the carnival is about. And these steps are a straightforward response to make sure it isn't. So pack light, plan for the gate. Let's do all our part to keep the kind of night families want to come back for, and what Webster is proud of. If you want to ride the rides without the wait, advanced unlimited wristbands are on sale now. $25. Cash only at spots around town. Shoots Apple Mill, Kittleburger Florist, Webster Park and Rec, Mama Moore's in the Ridge, Lala Webster, and Flaherty's 3 Flag Inn. Get them, baby. It's an amazing event. The parade's amazing. The festival's amazing. I know I'm going to see you there. So come out, bring your family, bring your friends. It's always a good one. So that's the week, Webster. Horizon Review built to slow down and get it right. A road project that's complicated for all the right reasons. And a homegrown leader at the Webster wastewater plant. And a carnival, you know it, we're showing up for. And if there's a through line, it's back to the question we keep coming back to here in Webster. Do we strive to move as fast as possible? Or is our job to get it right? Because most weeks, the honest answer is a little bit of both. We're trying to figure it out. And the more you are paying attention, asking questions, voicing concerns, and participating overall, the better the outcome is. It's for you residents. If this episode was useful, do me a favor. Like, follow, and share with a fellow Webster resident. That's generally how our community is going to grow. As always, I'm Garrett Wagner, your host. Thank you for spending a little time with me. And remember, every step we take is a step towards a better Webster.
You've been watching Webster Now with Garrett Wagner. Join us next time for more local news and updates.